have a Microscope standard student issue microscope. There are several parts, and we will start at the beginning with the power cord. Seems relatively straightforward, but not always. We have a knob here that turns the microscope on or off. Your microscope may have a switch, and they're usually hidden somewhere in the back. This also controls the brightness of the light. We have adjustment, which will move coarse and fine adjustment that moves the stage up and down as needed. This is the stage. Here is the iris diaphragm. It can be adjusted depending on what type of lens you are currently using. There is also a condenser. In this microscope, you just rotate this knob up and down. On your microscope, there may be a lever or a lever that will change the position of the condenser, which is this piece of equipment right here. This is the microscope stage. This is the device that pinches the slide in place. And then this is the nose piece. It has several objectives on it. We always start with the lowest power objective. We click that into place and we look through the eyepieces. The eyepieces are adjustable. You adjust them to your interpupillary distance by moving them in or out. You can also adjust the focus of them finely using some microscopes at least have this feature where you can rotate this one way or the other, and sometimes this one as well, to allow you to focus precisely for your particular eyes if this alone is not enough. The slide is placed onto the stage oftentimes in this orientation. Sometimes you will have to flip it around depending on how far the sample has spread. The stage controls here. On this side, there's a pair of knobs. One moves laterally and one moves up and down. And a pro tip would be to move the slide so that you have the edge of the label in view, and then you can focus until you find that it is in focus. And then once you have it in focus there, we scan the slide back and forth in a zigzag pattern in order to see what is on the slide, to gain an appreciation of the distribution of cells, whether there are a lot, whether there are a few, and sometimes we'll get a clue as to what the diagnosis is already at 4. Then we rotate ever higher. And the next would be the 10 power objective, and use the coarse and fine adjustment in order to bring that into focus. Then we move up to 40. On this microscope, this does not have a black line. So the 40 on this microscope is a quote unquote dry 40. And we turn it to the 40, and once again, we use the coarse, but to a greater extent, the fine adjustment in order to bring that into focus. And you'll note that this particular objective has a black line on it. This is the 100 power magnification. And because it has a black line, I know that it requires oil as the interface between the lens of the objective and the slide. So we take oil and we put a small droplet here on the slide, and we rotate the objective into the oil. One particular point about this is you want to keep moving the nose cone. When you are done, keep moving the nose cone in this direction. If you rotate the nose cone backwards, you can see that the 40 power objective, which is not an oil objective, will come into contact with the oil. If it does, please call over your instructor to ask how to clean it properly. With the oil objective, like I say, you rotate it this way, and you use bulbous paper to wipe in one direction only to remove the oil from the oil objective. And then you take the slide, place it on the desktop, and wipe it, and use slide cleaner as well to clean this of the oil, so that somebody who uses it for the next laboratory period has a clean slide and doesn't get oil on the 40. So when you're done, it's a good idea to leave the objective that's the lowest objective with the furthest distance from the stage facing downward, just as a safety precaution. Turn off the microscope. Whoops, that's the wrong way. Turn off the microscope, unplug it, and put it back in its original container. That's Microscopy 101.